Fall ball has come and gone across the sport of college softball. So now that we've had some games to evaluate talent, newcomers a little bit more, who are the main contenders going to be in the SEC in 2025? And where do Oklahoma and Texas immediately stack up in a league that just won't be the best in all of college softball this year? But I believe with the overall depth, with the teams at the top, with Oklahoma and Texas coming into the conference, the SEC this season will be the best conference that the sport of college softball has ever seen. And I would probably bet a lot of money right now that the national champion from the sport will eventually come from the SEC as well. But where do the teams stack up right now? What do we need to watch out for in 2025? Let's rank them 1 all the way to 15. Let's get to it. First, let's unveil teams 15 to 13. I've got Ole Miss at 15, Auburn at 14, Kentucky at 13. So let's start with the Ole Miss Rebels coming in at number 15. 14 new players for Ole Miss. Finished last in 2024, 7-17 a year ago. Lost 3 players in the transfer portal to other SEC programs, which hurts a bit. A lot to figure out this year for the Rebels. And this is not necessarily the conference in the SEC that you want to be figuring things out in with so many newcomers. 6 incoming transfers, including Taylor Roman, an outfielder from Louisiana, and Taylor Strain, an outfielder from Baylor. So there are some pieces to be excited about. There are some things about the Ole Miss Rebels to be optimistic about. But both Strain and Roman will be big time players for this Ole Miss offense. They need to carry things offensively, especially defensively in the outfield. So many unknowns right now. I've got Ole Miss coming in at number 15. At number 14, I had the Auburn Tigers, and very strange to see them in this spot preseason. A very good program. We all know that. Just an interesting spot to be in. Of course, they hired the co-head coaches in the offseason, husband and wife, Chris and Kate Malvo, which is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out at Auburn. Added S.J. Guerin in the portal from Oklahoma. Would think that S.J. would have a bigger impact at Auburn than she's had at Oklahoma the past few years. But Anna Wohlers is really the name to me to watch out for. Started every single game last year for Auburn. Hit over 300. Just an extremely good softball player, both at catcher and at third base. So you get a bit of a versatility there with Anna Wohlers. And maybe I look like a complete idiot for putting Auburn at 14 in the preseason. There's definitely a chance that that could happen. But I got to see it to believe it with this Auburn team. I got to see them make big strides with a lot of newcomers, with the new coaching staff as well. So for now, today, post-fall, I've got the Auburn Tigers at number 14. At number 13, I got the Kentucky Wildcats. Played an SEC opponent in the fall. Twice, actually. Played Tennessee in Big Blue Boo. The Kentucky Wildcats were Big Boo Nation. Tennessee was Vol Wayne, and Kentucky lost the matchup in Lexington 11-5, lost a close game in Knoxville. And here's the thing, like Kentucky being at 13, that doesn't mean that I think that they're going to be a bad softball team. I think the exact opposite as well. This league is just so deep, there's so many good teams, that somebody's got to be at number 13, and I just think for today, that's where the Kentucky Wildcats should be ranked. There are no bad teams in this conference, right? But there's a lot to like still with Kentucky, and I immediately start with Ohio State transfer Mackenzie Bump, who I think is going to start on the infield this year. Hit over 300 last year at Ohio State, will without a doubt be a very big part of this lineup. Allison Blum is a player to be excited about, top 75 recruit, and should make an immediate impact somewhere, maybe in the outfield, even though she was a 4-star shortstop. But some young talent coming in the program, a very nice addition in the transfer portal with Mackenzie Bump. Kentucky, a very interesting team to watch coming up in 2025. Next up are teams 12 and 11. I got South Carolina at 12 and LSU at 11. New head coach Ashley Chastain for the South Carolina Gamecocks. She comes over from Charlotte, and she brought a lot of players with her from Charlotte. 6 to be exact. Quincy Lilio transferred from Oklahoma. I would think that she's got a great chance to be a starter this year for South Carolina. A lot of new for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Bit of a transition year, more newcomers than returners for South Carolina, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing because, again, there's a lot of players to be excited about. Brooke Blankenship and Carly Shelton, 2 names that you need to know that are back and need to be big-time players for this offense this year, and I think that they can be. But watch out for newcomer Ariana Rhodey. One of those transfers from Charlotte, hit .353 last year with 22 home runs. She's legit and could be the big hitter in the Gamecocks order this year. At number 11, I've got the LSU Tigers. Very good program. We've seen that for a while, but some tough losses due to graduation. One win away from Oklahoma City last year. Jaden Heavener, the number 2 overall recruit, two-way player. You're going to see a lot of Jaden Heavener this year for the LSU Tigers, both in the circle, both at the plate as well. Avery Hodge, there's another Oklahoma transfer coming into an SEC program. Avery Hodge had a great run in Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series. I would expect her to be a starter at one of those middle infielder spots. Ole Miss transfer Jayla Lassiter comes over as well. High expectations for her. LSU, to me, ranked 11th in the conference, or at least 11th in my power poll, but it's a team that's going to get better and better and better as the season goes on. And watch out for LSU, maybe one of those teams in the SEC tournament that you don't want to see at the end of the season. At number 10 is Mississippi State. Highly touted freshman class, will play a big role for Sam Ricketts' team. Taylor Troutman, a top 40 recruit and the highest player in the class, did suffer a knee injury in the fall. Extremely unfortunate. Looks like Taylor Troutman is going to miss the entirety of her freshman season. But the good news for Mississippi State is this is a freshman class that's deeper than just Troutman. And they're going to have players in that class that, like I said, will really, really contribute this year. A lot to like with the returners Ella Wesolowski, who hit over 315 last year. Kylie Edwards, a really good softball player, too. Lot to like with Mississippi State, so keep your eye on the Bulldogs in 2025. Not to win the league. I don't think Mississippi State is going to push to win the league, but maybe a team that pulls off an upset or two in SEC play, and a sneaky team, if they get hot at the right time, a sneaky team in postseason that could make a real run at Oklahoma City. At number 9, it's the Georgia Bulldogs. A ton of starters to replace from a team that made a super regional last year, but 3 top 50 recruits for the Bulldogs, including Paisley Allen, a top 8 player nationally. Another special class for Georgia that will contribute right away. Didn't necessarily reload through the transfer portal. Just one player, Randy Rowling, a pitcher from Cal. Hard to get a read on exactly how good this team will be, but they're definitely going to have a lot of talent. I don't doubt that for a second. But tough to know for Georgia if this is the range that they're going to be in at number 9, or if they're going to end up being a top 5 team in the SEC, because the potential is there for Georgia to accomplish a lot this year and maybe be one of the big surprise teams in the SEC, at least in my opinion. But for now, I have them at number 9 because of all the unknowns. But this is a team by next year. Watch out. Dallas Goodnight is back this season, and all she does is get on base. Very athletic player. And then look out for Lindy Ray Davis to be a huge part of this order as well. Sneaky pick, maybe. I got Georgia at 9, a little bit further back than some might have. Watch out for Georgia this year in 2025. At number 8, I got the Missouri Tigers. Great season last year. Great season for Mizzou. Didn't lose a ton of players on that team, which is good news, but they did lose the ace and a defensive wizard. Lauren Kring's going to be tough to replace defensively and in the lineup. And, of course, Jenna Laird was fantastic in the circle for Missouri last year. But a lot returning to like. And I would start with Abby Hay, who offensively is fantastic. Sierra Harrison in the circle could be poised for a big season as well. Just interested to see Missouri. Interested to see how they build off of that great season where they were one game away from Oklahoma City. Missouri is really upgraded in talent. And they've got all the talent this year, especially the young talent coming in to make another Women's College World Series push. Let's see if they carry that momentum over to 2025 and don't come up one game short this year, but this time around make it to Oklahoma City. They are definitely a team that can be an OKC at the end of the season. At number 7, I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Not a great SEC regular season for Bama last year, just 10-14 in conference play, but hey, sometimes you just got to get hot at the right time, and that's what happened to Alabama. Upset Tennessee in a super regional last year, made it to Oklahoma City. Not a great offense a year ago. A lot of people had comments about that. Not a great offense last year, so interested to see if they will be more potent on that side this year. They need a big year from Jocelyn Brisky because someone is going to have to replace Kayla Beaver in the circle. One of the bigger keys coming up in the offseason for Alabama. Patrick Murphy, a top 8 recruiting class this year. He did a very, very nice job in the transfer portal with players like Brooke Elistad from Louisiana, who was Sunbelt Newcomer of the Year. But they're going to need to be able to manufacture more runs this year. And I think that they can. Frankly, I think that they will. I don't think Alabama will be one of the better offenses in the SEC, but I don't think that we're going to be talking about a team that's just hoping to score 1 or 2 runs like last season against very, very good competition. Bama will be a team, again, this year you don't want to face at the end of the season because they know how to win when it matters. Alabama, I got it number 7, but it's Bama, so you can never count them out. At number 6, I've got the Arkansas Razorbacks. Can they do it? Can they break through and make it to Oklahoma City? They've been so close recently. Lost a ton of seniors, but they did get a very, very big win in the transfer portal, getting Kaylee Wyckoff from Texas Tech. That was a very big deal. A lot of teams wanted her, and Arkansas was able to get her throughout the transfer portal. She's a really good player. Bree Ellis is back, and she can absolutely hit the ball a ton. And it just feels like this program has really evolved into one of those where you can just expect them to be really good offensively year in and year out. And I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season, we're talking about Arkansas as one of the best offenses in the SEC once again. DJ Gasso is really, really good. So you almost have to expect, even with some losses, that he's going to figure things out on that side for the Razorbacks. Got to think they're going to be good offensively once again. You got to think once again they're going to be right there in the thick of it in the postseason to make another run at Oklahoma City. All right, now as we get into the top 5, and I think that there's teams outside the top 5 that will make a push for the Women's College World Series. And I think all 5 of these are like national championship contenders potentially. Let's start with Texas A&M at number 5. They can claim the best fall win of any team in college softball. They handled Texas at home 12-6 back in October, which is a nice start. Just a fall game, but still very, very impressive to handle Texas the way that they did. Aggies had a breakthrough season in 2024. First appearance in a super regional since 2018, and they were so close to making it to Oklahoma City. Came up a little bit short in Austin. I think they make it to Oklahoma City this season. Super talented, a lot of momentum in the program. Coco Woolley is really good. I like watching her play. Mac Barbara, I think, is going to have a big year this year. There's a lot of reasons to like the Aggies this year, and maybe this season isn't just about making it to Oklahoma City. They were so close a year ago. Maybe the season isn't just about making the Women's College World Series, but maybe making a push for a national championship this year. Some questions will have to be answered for Texas A&M. It won't be an easy road, but this is a team that can really, really make some noise in 2025, both in the SEC and nationally as well. At number 4, I've got the Tennessee Vols. Disappointing ending to the season, not making it to Oklahoma City as one of the top seeds, but they did win the SEC last season, and they've won the SEC the past 2 seasons. Vols are going to be really good once again. A very interesting schedule for Tennessee in that they'll play every other Power 5 champ this season. One of those will be a conference game this year when they go to Norman to play OU. But a lot to like with the roster. Carlin Pickens is back. She was SEC Pitcher of the Year last year. And even with a lot of competition around her in the league, could win that honor once again. Former Sooner Sophia Nojit can hit the ball a ton. We already know that. Tough draw for Tennessee, having to go to Oklahoma and to Texas in SEC play. But look, this is another team that I expect to see in Oklahoma City at the end of the year. Very balanced, beat Kentucky twice in the fall, shut out Georgia Tech, and finish the fall season undefeated. But Tennessee is going to be a team right there at the end of the season with a chance to win the league. At number 3, the Florida Gators. What a run in the postseason for the Gators. Had OU on the ropes, had them really close, so close to making the championship series, and who knows what would have happened if they would have made it to the championship series. Skylar Wallace, yes, is a big loss, but a lot of talent returns, including big names like Keegan Rothrock and 2024 SEC Player of the Year, Jocelyn Erickson. Riley Holtorf was a massive portal get from Washington, and she was one of the best, if not the best shortstop available during the offseason. The Gators looked really good during the fall, beat Florida State. They were undefeated throughout the fall season. This is a team that can win it all. That shocks absolutely no one. Both the SEC, nationally, they can win both of those. So much talent, a lot of experience, a lot of big game experience as well, which is really important. This feels like Florida has a real chance to do something special. Tim Walton has been one of the best in the game for a long time, so you know that they're going to be well coached. Big plus for the Gators with the schedule as well, seeing as both Oklahoma and Texas come to Gainesville this year, and the entire softball world will be watching both of those series. Florida will be legit, and it feels like they're going to have all the pieces for a serious title run. They got the pitching, they've got the hitting, they've seemingly got everything you need to win a national championship. I have them at number 3, but I'd favor them in any other conference in the country. and I think that they will be picked top 3 preseason heading into the season. At number 2, is it Oklahoma or is it Texas? The two newcomers, I have them both in the top 2, and at number 2, I have the Texas Longhorns. Some of you might be surprised to see Texas here and not Oklahoma. I'll explain that selection coming up soon. But look, this could be the best team that Texas has ever had, and maybe the expectation on the 40 acres is that Texas will have the best softball team that it's ever had. Made the championship series, have a ton of talent returning. There's a reason why a lot of people will pick them number 1, not just in the SEC, but in the country over the program that's won 4 consecutive titles. Tegan Cavan is excellent in the circle. Massive, massive year for her in 2024. Excellent in the circle. Could be an All-American this year. Reese Atwood, you know the name, will be one of the best players in the sport again. Player of the year last year. Mia Scott is good. Katie Stewart is good. Mac Morgan is good. So many more to name with this Texas team. And there's a lot of easy reasons to see why this could be the best Texas team of all time. They do have a really tough SEC draw, having to go to Florida and to Oklahoma. They do get the Tennessee Vols at home. But don't be surprised when a lot, maybe even most people, have the Texas Longhorns as their preseason number 1 team. Not in the SEC, but in all of college softball. At number 1, what? You didn't think I was going to have the 4-time reigning champs here? They're the queens of the sport for a reason. And until someone knocks them off when it matters most, I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep them at number 1. But outside of that, I think there's legitimate reasons. There's great reasons why to put Oklahoma at number 1. Yes, it's a new league for Oklahoma, but the offense is going to be incredible. It's hard for me right now to find an offense that I think will be more complete than OU's. Yeah, Texas will be good. Florida has some real offensive depth too, but OU is going to be lethal from top to bottom in the order. They can hit home runs. They can bump for base hits. They can hit balls in the gap. They can move runners. They can steal bases. Did I forget anything else? If I did, they can do that too because they can do it all on offense. Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering, in my mind, will be the best 1-2 punch offensively in the entire country, and that's not even mentioning Ilana Agbayani, Abby Dayton, Isabella Emmerling, Nellie McEnroe-Morena, Sid Sanders, and there's going to be some non-starters who will provide incredible value to this team as well. So offensively, I think that they're going to be best. I think that they're going to be the best once again. Defensively, and that's been the hallmark of this program for quite some time, I think it's going to be strong again. We'll see if it's the best. We'll see if it's elite like it has been in past years, but it'll certainly be very good. Pitching was the question mark before the fall, but Sam Landry is going to be the ace of this team, and that's the single biggest thing that happened during the fall for the Sooners. They needed that to happen, and it did. And maybe that was one of the single biggest storylines of the entire SEC. Along with Landry, you got freshman Audrey Lowry, who looked very, very good. Kirsten Deal, who hopefully is ready for her best season at Oklahoma. And Bella Smith, the Campbell transfer, who we still haven't seen. And so maybe we get a lot out of her once the season rolls around as well. Impressive resume at Campbell, so you think that she'll be a factor at some point this year. Unclear how big of a role that she'll have, but you got to think that she will have a role in 2025. Peyton Monticelli will be solid as a relief pitcher, but if the pitching is there, and I think it will be, this team can absolutely win 5 straight national championships. It won't be easy. It's never easy. But even after losing a ton of talent, Patty has restocked the lineup to win the SEC and another national championship. And you know how well Oklahoma plays when it matters most in the postseason. Agree or disagree with my takes? Drop them in the comments. And as always, appreciate you watching.